Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Walk to Wealth podcast. If you're tuning in on YouTube or any of the podcast directories, we just ask you one teeny tiny little favor. If you find any value in this episode or have found value in the episodes prior, the tiny favor that we ask is that you just recommend us to a friend. We are trying to impact as many lives as we can on their walks to wealth as possible. So if you could do this one teeny tiny little favor, it would mean the world to us. Without further ado, we have a super special guest today, Susie. For anyone that may not know you, tell us your elevator pitch. Who are you and what do you do?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on. I'm Susie Bills, and I am a ex-California girl currently living in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico for the last 7 years. And my husband and I have online business and we build online businesses for other people. And so we are digital nomads and we are able to live and work in the world. And like I said, we've been doing that for the last 7 years. And today we're going to be talking about some mindset blocks and possibly give you some mindset tips and tricks for entrepreneurship. Because as we know, it can be a landmine of mindset problems especially when you're just
Yeah.
starting out. So we want to get you through those quickly, get you on your walk to
Yes.
wealth.
Yeah, it's like walking in a battle zone sometimes when you're starting off. And Susie, before you were able to achieve this lifestyle and this level of success that you're at now, where you can help other people help reach their goals, tell us a little bit about your walk to wealth. Let's hop back into the time machine to where the story all starts and takes place.
Yeah. So for many years, my husband and I, we lived in San Francisco, had a very successful construction company in the Silicon Valley area. And we were living the lifestyle that so many do, right? And working 15, 16-hour days, had a lot of money, had a lot of things, everything that is supposed to make you happy. But the problem was that we didn't have a life outside of our business. And so some things happened in our life. We lost a very dear friend to cancer, just some things that really made us take a step back and look at our life. And like, is this how we want to continue? Do we want to work 24/7 and not have free time and not have fun time and actually not be taking care of ourselves, appropriately, our mind, our bodies, all these things, because we were so attached to work. So long story short, we ended up selling that business and decided that there was a different way to live and we didn't have to be attached to a certain area if we didn't want to. And that's when we decided to start an online business. And I dipped my toe into network marketing, which a lot of people have heard of, right? It's like the direct sales, or people call it a pyramid business, but it was a great way to start a business for nothing up front, really, basically. And so I started doing social media for that. That's how I promoted myself and my products and things. And other people in the company started noticing that I was getting traction with social media. And finally, about a couple months into it, the company asked me if I could start training company-wide on social media, how to use social media to get in front of people. And I was like, sure. Like, that had never been anything I had thought about, but I was like, there's a business idea. And so I started doing that for other people. And that's how I ultimately built my social media management that I still have today. It's an agency where we do all things digital marketing for entrepreneurs and business owners. But really the beauty of it is that I can do it from anywhere in the world. And being able to do that and also introduce several other different income streams, all while working limited hours or the hours that I want, and being able to have global reach through the internet, it changed everything. So yeah, that's where I am now and where I started, just in a construction company. I managed the bookkeeping in a construction company.
Man, that's amazing because coincidentally, I have a kind of similar story a little bit as well. I made a Facebook post on one of the realtor Facebook groups that I'm in about a couple quick social media tips. And at that time, I didn't even really create content like that. Honestly, I just knew a little bit about social media. I grew up with it. This is my generation. We eat, sleep, and breathe social media for the most part. And I was never the most active, but I know a couple things just from just messing around with the apps. And I made a couple tips, and one person asked, can I teach a class? Which led to me teaching a couple more classes and then a paid class. And now I'm in the process of getting that up and going.
I love
that.
Super
similar stories. Before we kind of get into the main meat and potatoes of today's conversation, I want to ask you a little bit, because you were able to make the decision you had something that was successful, up and running. You decided to drop it and go elsewhere because you knew that it wasn't fulfilling you in a way that your lifestyle that you wanted. And a lot of people tend to find some success or find a lot of success, but they're never ever make that jump to pursue something that's going to actually fulfill them. How was it like making that decision to leave what you already had up and running to pursue something else that you really didn't, you haven't tried those waters before, and yet
Right.
you were able to make that decision, and not only make the decision but then run with it and then blow it up into what you have now?
Okay. Yeah. So, well, a couple things. First of all, I did it really slowly. So I started, right. We had these, my husband and I had these conversations, and I started with the network marketing company just as a side gig. Right. So I just started doing things in my spare time because I wasn't really like, believe me, I liked having the money and the cars and all the things. Right. So I wasn't able to just say like, forget that, and I'm going to go out on my own. It was an evolution. So it was about almost a year and a half from the time that I started working online network marketing before we did actually decide to sell our business. But I knew, right, that is something that when I visioned how I wanted my life to be, I knew it wasn't where it was, and I knew there'd need to be changes that would need to be made, but I gave myself the time and like the grace, I guess, to do it over a period of time. Like there wasn't this like immediate thing, right? And so that made it really nice. It was softer, right? It wasn't an all or nothing type of mentality, but I did
Hmm.
always have, it's important to hold that vision of what you want, right? Otherwise it's easy to stay where you are, even if you're not happy. And so that was my little trick on that, was to just do it slowly, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, ease my way in.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I want to ask you too, because just a question came into my mind. You said you
Mhm,
sold your business. So it's not like you
mhm.
quit a job working for someone else. You sold kind of like your pride and joy. And as entrepreneurs, we tend to get a lot more invested into these things because it's like our babies. We're building them from the ground up. How was it like selling something that you were able to grow versus, just quitting someone else's job? Because it's easy to quit for someone else, but quitting something that
Right.
you developed into something, how was that like?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was more of my husband's business, right? And then I was there doing the bookkeeping and things like that. So I didn't really love it. Like I didn't have, it wasn't something that was super passionate about. It was just like kind of, it's my husband's thing. So I'm going to be there. For him, it was very difficult because he spent so much time, but in building it and building relationships with people and all of the things. But again, it was the daily wear down, that's the right way to say it, of just those like, oh, we were overworking, overstressed, not paying attention to the important things in our life the way we should have been. Health, family, all those things that really it's easy to kind of push off or ignore when you're really, really passionate and really working really hard. And then you find yourself not happy. And then you're like, okay, what happened? So it was difficult to sell, but by the time we actually sold it, we were over it. We had been over it probably for like a couple of years before. So again, not doing anything like super quick, right? But kind of planning it out, having a vision, and then holding yourself accountable just a little bit each day.
Yeah, so I know that mindset is one of the biggest things that you accredit to your success. Let's dive into a little bit. What's always been your mindset around money when you were growing up versus what you had to adopt in order to achieve the success that you have now?
Yeah. So money's such an interesting and loaded topic for so many people. And sometimes it's not even, I like to use the term like like financial life, or because money, you have a lot of people have a lot of ideas or thoughts around even like the word money. It can be a trigger for a
Hmm.
lot of thoughts, right? So growing up, money was not a problem in my family. The business made a ton of money, but I wasn't happy. Like there was no passion in anything I was doing, right? I wasn't happy. I wasn't excited. I didn't have kind of that drive. And so then starting our own business, even when we sold the construction company, of course we took some money with us, but I found myself having to like budget and like do these things that I really hadn't had to pay attention to before, putting together a budget, living on a budget, not being able to go buy that whatever just because I wanted it. Right. So,
Hmm.
so those type of things, that was a very different reality for me. And I did find it difficult. And it was an evolution again of like talking to myself. Like, why do I feel like I need to buy a new car? Like, why do I feel like I need to do these things? Is it because I care what people think about me? So once we get into like underneath the layers of mindset issues or issues that we have, there's usually many layers underneath it. So it turned out for me that I cared way too much about what people thought about me. I cared way too much. I wanted to have the right car, the right hair, all the right things because I was really concerned with what people thought about me. And I had this persona that I needed to keep up.
Hmm.
And so once I got underneath that and realized and worked on self-worth and these other issues that are really the underneath money issues, we'll call it money mindset issues. As soon as I worked through those and was able to like identify and work through and give myself some grace around that, then I found that I didn't have those issues anymore because I didn't need to buy things and do
Hmm.
things and be a certain way for other people. So that's a big distinction and a different perspective on just living in general. And that took a while. That did not happen overnight. That did not happen overnight. Again, right? Working, self-development, spiritual development, all these things that we work on with ourselves, they take time. It's a little bit at a time, right? It's evolution over time. So now I respect my finances. I respect my money. I'm grateful to pay my invoices that come in. I'm grateful every time my PayPal dings and somebody buys a course or you're right. So I I respect my money and it respects me back.
And that's an amazing point. And while we're on the topic of layers, as you
Mhm.
know, only about 5% or so of what we do on a day-to-day basis is conscious activity. And most of it is just subconscious. So let's peel the onion a little bit. What are some of the common subconscious beliefs that people have that are negatively affecting their lives without them even realizing it? That you maybe notice in yourself throughout your journey, or maybe notice in your husband, or maybe notice in the tons of people that you've been able to help? What are some of the
Yeah.
common ones that really just been detrimental to people's success?
Worthiness is huge, right? Worthiness, not feeling worthy of bringing on new clients or not feeling worthy of, being able to speak in front of whatever that is, that unworthiness, like I'm not good enough, which then also leads to the caring too much about what people are going to think about you, right? Those two are really closely intertwined. Imposter syndrome, right? They're all intertwined, actually. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So thinking that fake it till you make it type of mentality, but really feeling like you are not good enough to be in the room with people because you're not educated enough, or you're not fill in the blank, whatever enough, right? Pretty enough, young enough, smart enough, funny enough, whatever, not enough. And so these are really ego and mindset tricks, I guess you'd call it, that are deep because we don't think those aren't the first things that come to mind when we think, oh,
Mhm.
I'm not showing up for class, or I'm not showing up doing something I should be doing to like further along my career or something. The reason you're not showing up is not because you're lazy or not because you just don't want to go. There's something underneath it in your subconscious, like you said, that is rolling in the background that is keeping you from doing these things. And it shows up as procrastination. It shows up as, sometimes it can show up as like you're lazy. But those aren't the reasons. That's how it's showing up, but that's not what you need to work on. And so it's really amazing if you just give yourself a little bit of time to be quiet every day. First thing in the morning is awesome. And listen, if you're quiet enough, you'll start to hear what's going on in the subconscious. You'll start to hear those BS stories that are on autopilot, right? Default in your brain. Then we can do something about them. But if you're so busy on your phone, on your doing and doing, running, working 12 hours a day, like if you're so busy doing, you never give yourself time to be quiet enough to actually tune into what those limiting thoughts are or limiting beliefs are. And so it's super, super valuable to spend a little bit of quiet time every day and listen to what your BS is in the back of your mind so you can work with it.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned taking a time out every morning. I feel like I've heard that the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes of your day, right after you wake up and before you let's rest your head to go to sleep, are the parts where your brain are the most impressionable because at the frequency at which your brain, it's like a delta waves or something. I don't know
Yeah.
which one it is,
Yeah.
but I know the
Yep.
brain has different frequencies or something like that. And I kind of, full transparency, I've been slacking with my meditating. I haven't meditated in a little bit, but what I've noticed is that when I was meditating, I kind of, and when I would get into, and it would be very rare, but like I would get occasionally into these zones where it's like, I would be kind of like, it almost as if I felt like I was watching myself from like a third party,
Yeah,
like lens, and just watching the thoughts that are just fly across my head,
I love
and
it.
just kind of just looking at this like, that's BS. That's not, okay, that's good. And I need to get back into it, but I love that you mentioned taking the time in the morning. I also want to touch upon a little bit too about the imposter syndrome. 'Cause that's
Mhm.
something that a lot of people, especially in my audience, may be dealing with. Because as a lot of these successful people that we see are typically people that are a lot older than us, right? A lot of, for
Yeah,
example, in my industry, because I'm a realtor by profession, right? The average age of realtor is 56, right? I'm coming in at 20. Most realtors are way older than me,
yeah,
right? And so
right.
that might cause in some other people imposter syndrome there. And I literally just came up with this while you were speaking. But instead of saying fake it till you make it, you gotta believe it until you achieve it,
Love it.
or so you can
Yes.
achieve it. I came up with that on the spot. I still have to reword that, but I'm
Trademark
gonna
that
coin that.
or whatever.
I'm gonna trade believe it until you achieve it. I'm gonna trademark it. But yeah,
Yeah.
what were some of the steps that you kind of took to say that you are worthiness? Because a lot of people waste time getting extra degrees or going to extra classes because they feel that they need the credentials. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I can do this, but I need a doctor in front of my name. Or I could do this, but I need this credential or that credential, or whatever. Talk to us a little bit about that and how you were able to overcome that.
Yeah. And so that is one of the ways that unworthiness shows up is thinking you need more, you need to be more, you need to have more letters after your name, all the things, right? That's a big one, like a big red flag. If you're forever doing courses and getting certifications and not doing work, that is like a red flag that you should look at because you can do
Definitely.
that forever and never move forward, right? You can never move forward. So when I start working with people and we want to kind of bust open or bust past these things that keep them stuck, right? A lot of people I work with are successful, like they have a great business, but they want more. They can't break through to the next level, right? So every on your journey of whatever business you're building and just in life, you will get to a certain place, right? And then you'll plateau. And then you need to do different things to get to the next place. And so when I'm working with people just starting out that aren't really aware they haven't taken the time to be quiet yet to listen to their BS, right? These thoughts that come up. I have 3 steps that I have them start doing. Super simple. Every morning when you wake up, sit down somewhere that's quiet and close your eyes and you take some deep breaths and just be quiet, right? For like, you can start with 5 or 10 minutes. Some days, everything will be going through your mind, particularly when you start, right? It'll be like crazy in there. Just observe it, let it go, just let it pass through. Like, there's no judging that needs to be done. It's the practice of sitting down every day for 5 or 10 minutes consistently that's gonna get you the rewards that you're looking for. Before you know it, you will be sitting there and your mind will get really quiet, or you'll have an experience like you, where you're kind of being very self-aware and you're kind of above observing yourself, right, in a moment.
Mhm.
But the key is to get to that point where you can hear like the excuses coming up, right? So if you are like, I'm going to use working out as an example. That's a good one. Most people can
Mhm.
relate. Okay, I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to work out every day. And then you sit down and you're meditating and all these excuses start coming up. Oh, the gym's going to be really crowded. I don't know where my tennis shoes are. Like all those excuses that come up, right? Little things that come up. That's your ego. That's those BS thoughts, right? And so in that moment, you need to first you need to be calm enough to hear it. Then you need to call it out for what it is. It's BS. It's my ego trying to keep me small and safe, right? It's trying to keep me the same. And then the third part of that is you can choose again. So you're going to choose a thought that feels better. So whenever we're thinking of a thought, we always want to be aware of how it makes us feel. And that's how we know which direction we're going in. So I call it the 3 C's, just so it's easy for people to remember. So calm your mind, call out the BS thought when you hear it, and then choose again, choose a better feeling thought. So using the gym analogy, as I'm sitting there and all the excuses are coming and I go, okay, wait, that's total BS. I don't even have to go to the gym. I can go walk outside. Like there's many things you can do, right? So call out that thought. I also like to not judge myself. So I'll say like, thank you for the thought. Like, but if that's nonsense, I'm going to choose again. I talk to myself all the time. get used to talking to yourself. It's great to have dialogue with yourself. And then I'll choose again and I'll be like, okay, so you know what? I love working out. I always feel better when I'm done. I just need to get started. Like as I'm talking to myself in that way, I feel much better. I start to get a little bit of motivation. I start to go, oh yeah, I'm gonna look really great in my pants today if I work. Like the good positive thoughts, right? The ones that help you. And so within like 20 seconds, you can become aware of the thought, call it out for what it is, and then choose again. And so that is sounds very simple. And in its overall, it is. But what you'll find, especially when you're first starting out, is that if you're throughout the day, you'll have to call yourself out like 1,000 times. Like when you're first starting, it's like every moment there, you'll start to hear those thoughts that come up and they're constant, right? But as long as we don't keep them just in our subconscious and bring them forward so we can hear them, then we can do something about them.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit too about talking to yourself. I feel like a lot of people, me included, the way we talk to ourselves, if a friend or a family member or a boss were to talk to us, the way we talk to ourselves, we would not have it. We would throw a fit, we would get
Yes.
angry, we would start fight, we would probably not talk to that person.
Right.
And despite that,
Yes.
we talk to ourselves like we tear ourselves down, and we tend to talk to ourselves in a way that we would never want anyone else to talk to us. And we talk to ourselves in a way that we wouldn't talk to someone that we love. So
Yeah.
how can we change that inner dialogue, or when we have it, so that we can uplift ourselves and be on our own team instead of tearing ourselves down without realizing it?
Yeah. So I like to think of myself like if I'm in the middle of that, like what if I was myself as a child, would I talk to myself that way? Like to a child, would I say, oh my gosh, you're so stupid, or why did you say that? Or all the things that come up, right? What are those negative things? You would never talk to a child that way, right? So you want to treat yourself the same way. We're all sensitive, and at the bottom of everything, we all just want to be joyful and happy. And so the only way to do that is to be compassionate and kind with yourself, just like you would with anybody else, exactly what you were saying. So again, it goes back to hearing those thoughts, being self-aware of those thoughts and calling out the BS right there. Like calling out the BS. That is the main thing that will be the catalyst for you to change your thoughts. But if you're
Mm,
not quiet, so I'm going to go back to the meditation every morning. If you're not quiet and those negative, detrimental thoughts are just on autoplay in your subconscious, you won't change it. You will feel unworthy. You will feel all those things, and you'll believe it is the problem, right? So when we are calling ourselves fat, let's just use that, like you're trying to lose weight and then you mess up or you eat something you shouldn't have, and then you're downing yourself and you are in a negative energy around whatever that thing is that you're saying to yourself, you're literally attracting more to that. You're literally attracting actions and more thoughts and people and things that are going to show up in your life that are a match to that. So the only way to break that and change the momentum of a negative thought is to interrupt it, call it out, and talk yourself out of it. Right. And so let's get the momentum moving in a gentler, softer, more compassionate way towards ourselves. Just like if your friend came to you and was sad about something, you wouldn't say, well, you're an idiot. Like you wouldn't do that. Right. So talk to yourself out loud and as if you are a child that needs kindness and love. Right.
yeah.
And then okay. But again, you got to hear it first.
Yeah, definitely. Let's tackle the first thing about calming yourself, because that's the first step. Without that, you can't call out the BS, nor can you choose
Yeah.
another thought. So let's tackle calming down. I think there was a study said that we see on average about 14,000 advertising messages per day, just across social
Mm,
media, TV, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's constant sales messages. We
crazy.
have text messages. We have work. We have all these things going on. What are some tips that you would give to anyone especially with the younger generation? They're glued to their phones.
Yeah.
It's like a ligament at this point.
Yeah.
So what advice
Yeah.
would you give to people so they could start calming down?
Yeah. So it's really important to carve out that time every day and put it in your calendar like it's a non-negotiable for 15 minutes every morning from 6 to 6:15 or whatever it is in your calendar. Plan it, be it, don't plan anything else for it. Lock your bedroom door if you need to so the kids stay out or whatever, and airplane mode on your phone. Airplane mode and put it away. The other thing that I say this also. You can't, what you don't want to do is roll over, turn your alarm off and then look at your phone. So I have airplane mode on my phone until 9 o'clock every day. Like I just set it up that way. I don't let anything come through, because if you wake up and you check the email and you check the social media feeds and you check your text before you meditate, you're going to have a really hard time calming that back down. So let's start when we just wake up and we're non-resistant in nature, because while you're asleep, all resistant negative thoughts stop. So when you wake up and they haven't gained momentum again yet, that's the best time you'll be able to calm your mind. But if you pick up the phone and do anything before then, it's going to make it really hard. So just like leave your phone alone, have it on airplane mode, and lock your door so nobody can bother you. It's really that important, right? Because where you initiate your energy from and your day from, where you're initiating from, that's the momentum that you're going to gain. So you have those days where you wake up, you're feeling great, everything's going great. You get all the green lights on the way to work, like the line at Starbucks, there's no line, and you go, everything's working out. It's a great day. And then you have the opposite experiences when you wake up and everything, you're late, all the things are happening on the way, your boss is mad at you, whatever shows up in your day, the deal doesn't go through. And you can see the different trajectory, right? And momentum and how it can take over. So it's so important to be the person that decides where you're initiating your energy from in the morning and what you want to attract. What do you want to attract in your day? And over time, when you really pay attention to that, you will start to notice that life is pretty awesome and things do work out and it's good to feel good. And all these things, right? New opportunities, creative opportunities will show up that you never even would have thought of, because you're open now and you're attracting those type of people, circumstances, teachers, deals into your life because you're on a higher frequency of energy than if you wake up and watch the CNN news and it's depressing and start comparing yourself on social media. Very different energy for the day.
Yeah, definitely. Two things that you made me think about is the first is that a Formula One car isn't going to put bad fuel into their car to start the race. They're going to start off with great fuel so that they can
Yeah,
push the race through and finish off and perform at its highest, potential. And
right.
the second thing you made me think about is one thing I want everyone to know is that just because you start off your day great doesn't mean your day always goes great. But when it does take a left, you'll be better able to handle the lefts and the negativity because you started off on such a great foot, which is something that people usually tend to leave out. It's not
Very good.
that you start meditating and everything is you're just on a
Yeah,
higher plane.
right.
It's like, no, it gets there eventually,
Yeah.
but you're able to handle the roll with the punches, as they say,
Yes.
because life is going to throw some things at you that you didn't expect. And because you're at it on a higher frequency, because you're functioning optimally, you'll be able to roll with the punches instead of getting knocked down. And in case you do get knocked down, you have a better chance of getting up because you're just functioning so much more better because of all the
Absolutely.
positivity that you have.
Absolutely. And it also opens up that the the situation where perhaps you can perceive a situation different. So maybe you can look at an obstacle or something that didn't go your way as actually like a detour in a better direction. Or right. So thinking of situations, even if they're crappy, right? There's usually some learning potential in it. There's usually some reason that you didn't get that deal or get that job because there's something else better coming. Right. So it helps you with your perspective. But yes, exactly. It doesn't mean that bad things don't happen to great people. Doesn't mean that bad things aren't going to show up but over time, if you're flowing with that momentum and do your best every day to be in that, those negative and bad things and inconvenient things will start to happen less and less over time. Right.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is life. Things still happen that maybe you don't like. So that's a great point. Great point that you made.
Yeah. Let's tackle the second C. It's calling out your BS. And I feel like a lot of people choose to be willfully blind and not look at their BS because the act of calling it out, then they have to adopt the responsibility of changing it now. And because now that they know that it's BS, if they continue to live that way, it's going to eat them alive because they know that they could be doing better. So a lot of the times it's easier not to look at it
Yeah,
at all because then you don't have to deal with the weight and the burden
absolutely.
of responsibility of changing it. So what tips could you give to people that struggle with the idea of calling out their BS or maybe shy away from that because they don't want to have the accountability, they run from accountability or whatever reason they
Yeah,
may have?
yeah, yeah. So that's such a good question because it's true, right? Once you know something, you can't go back, right? So once you decide, I want to get fit or whatever you're working on, and you start reading the books on it and you start realizing, okay, I eat that, like I eat that, I'm not going to feel good. That's going to help start heart disease, whatever the things are. You can't go back from knowledge, right? And so, yes, if you decide that you want to walk in a certain direction and choose a certain career or get healthy and fit or go on a spiritual journey, whatever it is, you do have to have self accountability. You do have to realize that staying the same, you stay the same. Sounds so silly, but it's true, right? If you want to be different, have different, build a different, the vision that you see, all these things, you have to show up different. There's no way around it, right? So if you are somebody who kind of dabbles in oh, I really want to get fit or I really want to whatever, but then you're not taking the actions, right? It's kind of BS. And so you have to get real with yourself. You have to have a talk with yourself and you have to be different to be different. That's just how it is. You're going to have to make different choices. And so it's really great that's why reading is so great, or having coaches and mentors, or listening to podcasts, because they open up other areas for you to learn different information that you may not have wanted to learn or thought you needed to learn, and help you take these actions of change in a quicker way, right? A path of least resistance, right? But there's no way around. You got to change if you want to change, and it starts with your mindset. And so people love to. This is how it shows up if you are ready to change or if you don't want to make the changes. It shows up as arguing for your limitations, right? So when somebody says, if I say, well, I thought you wanted to work out. Why are you eating that hamburger? Right? Or why did you go to McDonald's? And then you start arguing about why you had to go to McDonald's. Like, I had to do that. It was the closest thing. It was if
Hmm.
you find yourself arguing for your limitations, that is a huge sign that you need to go inward. You need to get quiet. You need to listen to what's going through your mind, and you need to call out your BS, or you will never change, right? And you will be stuck in the cycle of just doing the same thing, getting the same results, and complaining about it. And pretty soon, people won't want to hear you complain anymore about it, right? And you'll get hopefully fed up with it as well. But you got to do the work in order to make changes.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to talk a little bit too now about the third C, about choosing your thoughts. I'm in Keller Williams, and in our company, we adopted this mindset of life by design, not by default.
Love
And
it.
does it creating the life that we so choose, even beyond real estate. And a
Yeah.
lot of people think that life is happening to them and not for them. And by adopting that mentality, they give up their power of of choice, of decision.
Yeah.
If people believe that life is happening to them, they'll forever believe that it's in life's hand. They can't do anything about it, and
The
they give up their
victim.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that victim mentality. So,
Yeah.
what advice would you kind of give there so people can start gaining back the power that they rightfully have to create a life that's beyond their imaginations?
Yep. So it is very true that we create our own reality, right? And we create it by our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Those are the three: thoughts, words, actions. And so just again, it comes back to that self awareness, and you can achieve anything you want, but you have to believe it first. And so that's where the work is, right? And that's where showing up every day and working a little bit on your self improvement, working a little bit on your negative lean towards things, showing up consistently over time. And all you have to do is just a little bit every day. And pretty soon the compounding effect, the momentum will take over. And in a year from now, I can guarantee you, if you sit down for 10, 15 minutes every day for the next year, 365 days, right? And you calm your mind and do those three C's, and that's it that you do. And then you go on about your day. Your life will be completely different when you look back in a year from now, right? You will have made great transformations. You will have success that you never really could even have thought of before you started doing that. Because over time, the compounding effect is awesome, right? So little habits done every day over time will reap you huge rewards in a year from now. Or just thinking like 5 years from now. Like a lot of your listeners are young, right? You're what, 21, right? So by the time you're
Yeah.
26, if you did that every day for the next however many days, 365 times five, a couple thousand days, right? Just think of the changes that will occur during that time and how your mindset would be and what you've attracted since then. And really just by 15, 20 minutes a day of working on your mind and going inward is huge. So changing those thoughts, what you'll also find when you start doing this is, yes, at first your mindset and the work that you're doing is in those 15 minutes a day. Pretty soon you'll notice you just start to carry that out into your day with you. You start to carry that energy momentum into your interactions with clients and deals and all the things, right? And you don't even really notice it. That happens because you're consistent. And pretty soon it becomes you. You are somebody who lives. So yeah, I can't emphasize enough that for a little investment every day and a little self-awareness, right? And talking to yourself, the huge changes that can make over time. Super valuable.
You mentioned a little bit in your answer that the compounding effect, and a lot of our brains are function to think linearly, and they don't see how exponential growth can take over their life and put them in a trajectory either upwards or downwards, depending on which way they decide to go. There's a quote that says, we greatly overestimate what we can do in 1 year and greatly
Yes.
underestimate what we could do in 5.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about what you've been able to figure out for yourself, how that evolved throughout your journey. And were there points along the way where you kind of were self-aware? It was like, hey, normally I would have done X, but now I'm doing this. And did you catch yourself at some points, or did it just so happen so gradually and so slowly that one day you look back, and by the time you look back, you're like, whoa, I'm way ahead of where I thought I was going to ever be?
You know what? It happens every day. It happens every day because self-awareness and our ego or our mind or our subconscious is always there with these negative thoughts, right? It tends to lean a little more negative and again, wanting to keep us safe, right? Not wanting us to get out and be in front of people and be in these situations that test us, right? Because it's uncomfortable, right? So we want to
Hmm.
stay in our comfort zone. So every day, even this morning, every morning, like every few times throughout the day, I'll have a thought and I'll go, oh, that is negative. Like that is not how I roll. And I got to talk myself and I go through the 3 C's, right? Boom, boom, boom. So it happens all the time. And it happens less than it used to. Like I said, at the very beginning it was like almost constant. It seemed like every thought would come and I'd have to call it out, forgive myself, choose again, call it out, choose again, over and over and over. Now I roll more that way consistently, but whenever I am up leveling or doing something that I haven't done that I'm not super proficient at or whatever, those thoughts come right back in. Now, the difference is I'm super aware of it in that second, right? I don't let it take over momentum. So in 10 hours from now, I'm like not doing anything, I'm procrastinating or whatever. That's what's changed is how quickly I go through the 3 C's, how quickly I can see it and move away from it and change the thought and get back into the flow that I want to get into. But at the beginning, every minute it was exhausting, right? To try to get those thoughts, try to change those thoughts. Now, that being said, as we are always evolving in our careers and our life and changing will always happen because we always want to up level. We don't ever want to stay the same. Always want to try something new, adventure, or that is in your life. So,
Hmm.
so you'll always be, it's a spiritual, I call it spirit, right? That's why you show up every day. It's a practice and you get better at it. But as you get better at it, now you're different and you want different things. So then you have to work on those. So it's just ever evolving, but it does get easier. And you will over time find yourself being like a happier, more chill person, especially if you're like a type A, go
Hmm.
person. It can be
Yeah.
that type of personality. It can be the hardest for, but they also can reap the most benefit, their brain, their body calming down. So yeah, I just look at it as fun and interesting. It's like an experiment. Like how can I look at this situation and make the best out of it, even if it's not something that I'm happy about or that I wanted to have happen. Right? That's a good way to
Hmm.
look at things.
So how important do you think taking time to learn in psychology is to becoming self-aware? Does it, in your personal experience, is it something that you would say, I don't know if worth it would be the right word, but is it, especially when starting out, is it something that people should focus on? Or should people just focus on just their raw thoughts instead of trying to figure out the science and stuff behind it or the
Yeah.
psychology behind it?
So when I say like self-awareness, I really just mean being able to hear that those thoughts that you can call out. Like for me, that's what self-awareness is, right? It's like understanding that
Hmm.
my mind is doing something I need to be aware of so I can change it. If you're interested in psychology, if you're interested in how the brain works, I think like neuroplasty and like neurons in the brain. Like I find the brain fascinating. So I interested in
Hmm.
it. I like to read that and find out about how meditation helps your brain and what it actually does, right? But you don't need to know that to any of that. All you need to know or want is to change, right? And feel better. Those are the two, right? Those are the two things that sitting quietly in meditation, doing the three C's will get you. You'll end up feeling better because now you're not leaning negative, you're leaning positive, your energy's better. And that's really important, right? You want to feel better and be able to be calm and understand what your brain is doing. So if you love the science behind it, great. It's interesting, but you don't need to know any of that just to reap the benefits of calming your mind and meditating.
Yeah. I want to ask you because a lot of us develop things in our childhood as defense mechanism or coping mechanisms that we don't realize are affecting our personalities that end up affecting us in our adulthood and our business lives and our relationships and a bunch of other different areas.
Yeah.
For some of those more, because a lot of these are, some of them are like limiting, like general limiting beliefs, but some of these are like derived from traumas and things like
Yeah.
that. What advice would you kind of give there? Because those, I guess they call it the drunken monkey, those the negative ego voice in the back of your head or
Yeah.
whatever.
The monkey
No,
mind. Yeah.
yeah, that's a little bit harder to fight when you have these your brain literally connects in a way where it's like that's how your brain literally functions. That's how your brain
Right.
survives because it's been
Right.
doing that for so long. So it's like it's a lot more unwiring and
Yeah.
rewiring
The
that you
neural
have to do.
connections. Yep. Yeah. So let's just use an example. If you grew up in a home where, let's say, your parents always thought about money and there was never enough money, and that was a big topic in your house, right? Like life is
Mhm,
hard, struggle, and no money. Okay, so and that is a very common mindset that people have, right? And they don't even know it, but they do know that they feel like they're always struggling in business, or they're always struggling to pay the rent, or they're always struggling, right? So this is a um, neural connection that was made when they were very young. So it's very strong in their brain, right? And it keeps coming up and it's playing in the background 24/7, right? And so when that's happening, you're thinking, you're making different choices. You have a different perspective on people with money. Like you might not be able to relate with that, or maybe you think that people with money. So there may be some negative here. It's very negative, but it doesn't show up that because it's so deeply ingrained in your brain. It's more of like a trigger. And and so again, the way to change a neural connection that has been built over time is to build a new one. And the way that you're going to build a new one is the three C's. You're going to sit down, you're going to hear that story. You're going to say, you know what? That was my parents' story. That is BS. I have a great job and I am really smart with my finances or whatever, right? You talk yourself around and say it out loud and understand that that is not your story that was given to you and you can change it. And every time you change it consistently, every day when that comes up, you change it. What you're really doing is you're building new neural pathways. You're building a new connection on your brain. It's a habit. It's a habitual way of thinking. That's what the the negative thought pattern from your childhood is. It's just a habit, the way you're thinking. A belief is a habitual way of thinking. And so if we start to pay less attention to that, call it out, pay less attention to it, kind of like a tree, right? If you don't, or a plant, if you don't water it, it's going to start to wither away. If you don't give it attention, it's going to wither away. And you start focusing and giving attention to the thought that you want, you're going to build that like a muscle. It's going to get stronger. It's going to get stronger. It takes time, obviously. Pretty soon, your default will be this other way of thinking, or at least you can be neutral with it. It can come up, it can be neutral, and then you always are choosing a better thought. So, but it's just a habit. It's a habit of thought. And we know with habits, we can let them go or we can build them strong. And so that's the recommendation. And that's why the 3 C's really, I keep coming back to, that's my answer for like every question you ask me.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is, right? You gotta hear it first, know what it is and call it out by its BS in order to change it.
Well, one quick question that I wanted to ask is what advice would you give to the people that relapse maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times, and then just like say, screw it, it's not working, and you just call it quits and just say, this is how I am, and that's that. What
Yeah.
advice would you give there?
Yeah. So relapse, right, is part of the journey. It happens all the time. I mean, I think just the other day I did something. I was like, wow, gosh, I'm acting like I was when I was 18. It was just still, it was that old neural connection of something, but it's still there a little bit, popped right back up. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And I laughed at it and chose a different thought. But so relapse is part of it. And if you think of it like, if you're on a journey, right? If you don't look at this as a goal that you need to achieve, I'm going to meditate for a year and then I'm going to be done. That's not how it works, right? You need to incorporate it as part of your self-care, part of your health and wellness, part of living a great life. And so some days you'll be busier. Some days you'll be sick. Some days you just won't feel like it, right? The key is, as with everything, is to get back as soon as you can. Just get back. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't judge yourself. Don't call yourself stupid. Any of those things, just try again the next day. Try again the next day. It's not, nothing horrible is going to happen if you fall off the wagon, as long as you get back on over and over, as long as it takes, and it'll be forever. All right. That's why it's a daily practice, because we're not always super often.
Mhm.
You have to keep coming back to see it over and over.
Definitely. Susie, you've been dropping a bunch of gems this entire episode. Where could anyone go to keep on learning more about this and keep on finding out more? Where
Yeah.
could we connect with you? Where could we find you at?
Yeah. So SusieBills.com is a great place. That's my website. And really what that is, it leads you to my Facebook group, which is a hub of resources. It's all free resources in there, where we have mindset work. We have lifestyle business. If you want to start your own business, and wellness tips. So those are like my three areas that are my passions. And so we bring them all together in a group for people where they can get free resources, help. And I do a free coaching Friday, every Friday at 10 a.m. in that group. And we could talk about all the things. So go ahead. Yeah. If you go to SusieBills.com and join the group, then I'm happy to answer anybody's questions. And my intention and my love in life is to help people understand and realize how simple it is, like with 3 C's, right? To actually create a life that you want and to live with ease and grace and be kind to yourself. So that's what I'm always talking about. If you're interested, that's where you can find me.
And Susie, now it's time for my favorite segment of the podcast. What is the most impactful lesson that you learned in life?
The most impactful lesson that I've learned in life: be kind to yourself. Kind to yourself. Yeah.
What is the most admirable trait that you would find in a person?
Empathy, right? Understanding where other people are coming from, which leads to compassion.
If you had to change someone's life with one book, what book would you recommend?
It's a good one. Just one. Okay. Ask and It Is Given is the title of it. And it's by Abraham Hicks. That's my very top favorite.
Okay, and you kind of answered this a little bit, but what is the legacy that you're trying to leave behind?
Making spirituality and self-development and being happy easy for people to attain.
That's an amazing goal and legacy to leave behind. Susie, it was a pleasure again to have this conversation with you and find out the strategy you've been able to use in your life and help others incorporate in their lives to find massive success. As you said, life's as simple as we make it, and people tend to overcomplicate the answers, which is why they never tend to gain any traction. It's a lot simpler than it has to be, I guess is the way you word it. It's
Then
not
we
so,
make it
I think
out
that's
to
how
be,
you,
right?
then we
Yeah,
make,
that
there we
has to
go.
be.
There you go.
Yep.
And so, but yeah, so Susie, I really do appreciate you hopping on the show. And I know for a fact that my audience is definitely going to take a lot of this away because it's so easy to understand, easy to grasp, and easy to apply
Awesome.
right here and right now. So
Great.
as I said, once again, thank you so much for hopping on the show.
Thank you.